is bookkeeping and how do I do it? So bookkeeping is simply organizing your business's financial transactions into categories. The categories we'll be focusing on are revenue and expenses. If you have sorted your business's transactions into categories, you should be able to answer questions like, is my business profitable? How much did I make last month? How much have I made so far this year? So far, am I making more money this year or last year? Is my business spending too much money? Does my business have any unnecessary expenses? Bookkeeping allows you to answer these questions not just for yourself, but for others too. Leaders on your team, investors you might want to pitch to, and lenders you're approaching for loans will all want to see how much revenue you're making and how much your expenses are. So, how do you do bookkeeping? There are many systems you can use to organize your revenue and expenses. Unfortunately, many businesses don't do bookkeeping on a monthly basis. They do it once a year for tax time. They go through all their bank statements and statements from their Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and other payment processing systems, and they go through their receipts from cash payments as well. As they're going through, they're marking business transactions as revenue or a certain kind of expense like rent, office supplies, advertising and marketing, or travel. Now, I know that very few entrepreneurs want to do bookkeeping. They got into business to cook amazing meals or create beautiful graphics and websites, so they don't want to sit down every week to do accounting. However, if you let this wait until tax time each year, it's probably going to be a much bigger headache. You're going to have to do it all at once. You'll end up dreading it for months. It's going to take days to complete, and you have to do a lot of math yourself. All of that means you're probably going to miss things as well. Also, you don't have insight into whether your business was profitable last year until you finish. Meanwhile, several months have already gone by in the current year that you don't have any financial insight into. So businesses can and should categorize their transactions on at least a monthly basis so that you know if you're profitable, you know what revenue stream is making the most money, you know whether you're tracking towards your financial goals or not, and you know if you're spending too much money on something. You could use a written, notebook to jot down business transactions and which revenue or expense category they fit into. However, at the end of each month, you'll have to do a lot of math, and again, it's likely that you'll make mistakes. Plus, it's hard to send someone else your financials if they're on paper. You can use a spreadsheet. You can download your business transactions from your bank or mobile payment platform as a spreadsheet and then copy and paste those transactions into your main bookkeeping spreadsheet. Then you can go through and tag each transaction as this kind of revenue or that kind of expense. You can use formulas to do the math automatically to sum up, how much revenue is in this category, how much expense is in this category, which is nice. And you can find templates online that allow you to just plug in data. However, it does take time to download and then import all of your transactions, and making sure that the formatting is matching on those different spreadsheets can be a pain. Also, spreadsheets can be difficult to customize. So if you add too many, new revenue or expense categories, or if you want to rearrange how a report looks, you'll have to do that all yourself, which is difficult if you're not comfortable in Excel. Finally, we have the system I would recommend, which is an online accounting software like QuickBooks or Wave. Online accounting systems allow you to connect them automatically to your bank account and sometimes to mobile payment platforms like PayPal. And this way, your accounting system copies over all of the transaction info like dates, descriptions, and dollar amounts. Many online accounting systems do require you to pay a monthly subscription fees, but some of the simpler ones do not. So I often find many small businesses actually enjoy using Wave accounting, which is free, rather than using QuickBooks, which has a lot more bells and whistles. But they don't actually use them, and some of those extra features actually make things more difficult. For more info on that, I have another video comparing Wave and QuickBooks. Anyways, let's see what using one of these systems actually looks like in practice. So this is Wave Accounting. When you log in, you'll be sent to this dashboard page, but we want to get into the actual transactions here under Accounting. And so you can imagine that these transactions were pulled in automatically from my bank account with the date, the description, what bank account it came from, and the dollar amount. And my job is to actually select a category for each of these transactions. So, for example, if I know that this $998 coming out every month is my rent payment, I can open up this menu and I can look through my different expense accounts, find my rent down here, select that, and check that off. If I know that George Weasley, I paid him for maybe some cost of goods sold. He was doing some work for me directly related to the product or service that I sell. Then I can categorize that. Maybe I went to Chipotle and accidentally used the business card, and so I can do I can mark this as a personal expense and call it an owner draw. And once I have my transactions categorized, I can go to my reports. I can go to my profit and loss statement, also called an income statement. And I can see for some date range, what my business has received in payments from customers and how much it's spent in various categories. So this is helping me understand, am I tracking towards my financial goals this year? Was I profitable so far this year? How much money have I spent in which categories? And it looks like I still have some expenses to categorize here. So that can help me make sure I know where all of my money is going. And that is bookkeeping. We've organized our financial transactions into different revenue and expense categories, and now we have a nice report telling us how our business is doing financially. We can then export and send this to partners, lenders, and investors to show them how we're doing. For more bookkeeping guidance, go to jumpstartinc.org/bookkeeping. And if you want to get in touch with our team directly for one-on-one advising, fill the form out on that webpage. Thanks again for watching.